Hello, everybody. Uh, just gonna do the rundown on this sort of uh, this character that I made that I'm kind of looking at like right now is almost like a mess. But what I did find out was it seems as though a build like this or something in the same sort of vein has other sort of secondary benefits to it than being just a one-sided character. So, and I guess we'll get to that in a little bit. I will just open up the character sheet like I think I always do on my videos. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year if you are paying attention to my videos. See here, we got this is a gnome. It's because I had to go run through the racial. I have to do racial TRs right now to catch up to all the super gamers on the Kyber server. And just as a matter of personal pride, I want to do it on my main character. Don't make that your goal in the game. You got to play DDO just to have fun, but I'll go through this because I'm sort of required by my guild to do rundowns on everything that I do so people know. So, first thing is a wizard 8, cleric 6, warlock 6. And this is, excuse me, let's see, what did I do? I kind of got inspired because I knew I had to do 3 gnome lives. Um, that I wanted to do something gnome based on intelligence. They're smart. You can start them at 20. It's just the basic gnome. And I wanted to do something with the wizard and with the new cleric domains. Now, I have 2 other minor characters on this server that I have picked different cleric domains for just to see what they're doing. One's a light and one's in the magic realm for their, and you can research that on your own time. The no- the the light domain gives you bonus to light spell power, obviously, and it also gives you a couple of SLA clickies for light damage. This one is in the fire domain, which means I get a firewall clicky out of it, I think. Or maybe no, I might have gotten this firewall clicky just from being a wizard 8. So I'm a little off. I got messed up along the way because I couldn't decide exactly what type of damage I wanted to do. I know that the favorite soul tree is golden for force, light, fire, and positive. It has things in there that raise your character level, but they did not offer a domain for a favorite soul. So, before I go do the rundown, I'm going to show you some things in the enhancement tree that sort of inspired what I was doing. I guess I kind of did this character in reverse order. But what it did tell me was there's certain levels that you want to go to. Now, Warlock we know is it's so it's so OP in my opinion, but it's because of this. Down here at the bottom of the Warlock uh, Tainted Scholar tree, there's an advancement here into the spell critical damage. And this is, I don't even care about the blasts here. This is, I did work it up 3 because that's how many points I had. Who cares? What I do care about is that bonus 10% spell critical damage. And then it escalates at level 12 to up to 20%. Okay, and this might be like advanced topics and stuff like that. This is the only class in the game that gets these bonuses along the way. Eventually, if you took the warlock all the way up, you're running at uh, a 30% bonus of spell critical damage. When you score a critical hit, you're getting a 30% damage on that critical. Okay, so knowing that, and knowing that as an Archmage Wiz, you get cheap SLAs, get Arcane Blast eventually, you get this nice and cheap Arcane Bolt, which is force damage, and you get Magic Missile down here if you go into Evocation as your spell focus, and you get a Chain Missile SLA. You have 4 different things up here to shoot force missiles. And then the bonus, you're also getting that bonus 10% above any other class in the game at the end game that they can do with feats or anything else on top of that. So my whole premise of making this build originally was not to go be a big shooter or anything like that. Sort of, it was to use the blast from the warlock and then spam magic missiles as individual castings. Like my aura is always on. Then I never had enough points to do the Divine Disciple, which adds to light damage, criticals, and you also could get a couple of SLAs out of here to do light damage on top of the bonus from the Enlightened Spirit. So uh it was an eye opener for the enhancement trees because there's just not enough to get everything done. But what did I find? I found that in feats, oh god, I just shut it down. In feats, um, on the fire side, the cleric domains are listed now. With only 6 levels of cleric, you're getting granted fire spell power with each cleric level. Like, what did I got? 2 per level. I got 12 extra fire spell power out of this. And then it says your turn undead now affects uh, it affects elementals if you had a high enough turn. Okay, no big deal. But then it also gives as a like a I don't know tertiary benefit. You get you're giving your party members a fire resistance equal to twice your cleric level. So there's another 12 bonus to my other players that are around me. Next was the Domain of Fire Tier 2. And this is essentially it's a flame uh, strike or so what the hell do you call this class? This spell? Scorching Ray, but it is based on the cleric version of it, and what do they call it? Just the Domain of Fire Tier 2. It's another SLA. And then this one Uh, After level 11, if you did go into cleric, you're going to get a firewall out of it. So I did not. This firewall right here that I have slotted in the middle of my screen is from my wizard 8 levels. So when I started on the beginning, I was like, all right, what's the character class that kicks ass in the game and why? It's a warlock. It's overpowered as hell. I feel it's because of this tainted scholar tree right here at the end. Again, like I said, no other class gets that plus 30 benefit on top of it. I could care less about their blasting. But what I did find out was uh, uh, the the enlightened spirit tree I like to add on, and I would rather do blasting in this scenario to delay that skip between switching off from your warlock shooting and you casting a physical spell. Now, with quick draw feat, you're gonna get a quicker version of that, but I noticed in the game mechanics that it just seems like it's wonky, and I don't have any other way to explain that. This I know that my aura is always on. It's always affecting mobs that are close to me and party members with the fear removal or bonus to immunity to fear and saving throws, whatever. Um, and then I can still focus on the casting if I want to. So, and next, if you take that theory or whatever to the next level, like the next idea for my build is to at least do a Warlock 12 and bring it up to the 20% spell critical damage. Again, this only counts if you get a critical hit on your spellcast. What I did notice is that the aura, as it goes off, does the same in criticals. Per hit of every individual spell type that's going off. It's not just for one burst. So, I don't know. Something to think about. What did I gain from this? Originally, I went into the draconic incarnation tree for my epic destiny, and I did only pop a 20,000 on the dragon breath. I do not know if that was all during heightened phase and everything else that I do, or if Draconic Fury was on. I don't even know what my spell powers was at the time. I cannot compare it to a straight up sorcerer, but for the terms of purposes now as to be playing at level 30 with and doing raids with the specific intention of getting loot, um, I have backed out of this. And what I did do is I just went over to the Divine Crusader and took consecration all the way up to gain this thing to another 10% enhancement bonus to the damage of your attacks. And this is very vague up here on Crusade fourth tier. It says while standing on consecrated ground, you and your allies gain a 10% enhancement bonus to the damage of your attacks. And it says attacks, doesn't say ranged, melee, spellcasting, or trip, or whatever else. It just says attacks. So I went into more of a helper mode for the purpose of this, knowing that my fire spell power is substantial enough, and knowing that my positive spell power was substantial enough to help other players around me do damage. So not really after the biggest critical hit, but it was kind of a what do you call it again? A serendipity of you could do almost any destiny on this thing. Like if you wanted to roll over and go do Exalted Angel for all the light bonus, in fact, I have things slotted in from here, and you gain the Abundant Step, and you wanted to go do Divine Wrath and whatever else, Sunbolt and the clicky down here, that's totally available too. And Draconic is available for the fire. So it was like, all right, you could do whatever you want. I also went over to Shirati just to mess around and pound out fire damage or force long range, knowing that Prism Stance and stuff was going to pop off other crazy things, and stand and deliver for extra spell power every couple seconds. So it was a complete, it's almost like a universal Epic Destiny character. All right, that's all up to you. That was my opinion on it. The character sheet, as we open it up, stats. I did focus on intelligence on this because of the gnome, and I did not worry so much about the warlock end of it on charisma. What's that say? Base 10. I started at 10 on the charisma. The wizard, or the wisdom, was only at 10. Intel started at 20. Con started at 18. Dex 8. And strength 6. That was weak. I was weak. So here again, showing the spell powers currently at this level. And my focuses are not as high as that Uber Sork that I ran the other couple lives ago. Um, it's something that I could work on for fire if I wanted to try and get that above 750. Force 636, light 738, positive 574. The spell critical chance is not so bad. I have yet to find something for force to give me a big bonus on that, but the fire is up to 67%. It's huge. That's a huge number. Way over one half of your spells. Um, Force 36, light 52. Just right around half. Half of all of your light spellcasts will be eligible for a critical hit. And then down at the bottom is the spell critical multiplier, showing 35 on everything. All right. So 25 of that base is coming from an epic feat. It's not master knowledge. Oh, it's an epic destiny cap feat. Oh, so that means it's got to be up here somewhere. Where the heck is it? Jeez Louise. Scion of the Plane of Fire. You can see right on there it says there's another 25% spell critical damage with all spells. Doesn't even have to be fire. So that's your 35 right there. So I am using that in conjunction with the force to go do hits, and I can cast these spells over here extremely cheap. It's very cheap spell casting. Spell cost me 4 spell points for an arcane bolt. Like, really? 8 for an arcane blast. Magic missile, evocation 1, spell point costs 2. I could cast this like this only thing 1,400 times before I was out of spell points. But obviously the cooldown's a little slow, but cheap. Evocation 3, chain missiles 10. This clicky is from Arcane Initiate. It's from Past Life Wizard. I get 10 magic missiles out of this per in between shrines. Okay, just add it on. If you already got the force missile, all of these have every single possible meta magic that I can have on them. And that's the cost. Empower, enlarge, intensify, maximize, and quicken. They're cheap. Okay, going down the line, I did take Master of Knowledge. Now, this is a legendary feat that you get. I think it's if you have certain uh, destinies open. Your Arcane Bolt and Arcane Blast now grant you 1 stack of mental honing. It's going to give you more universal spell power and plus 2% spell critical damage when cast. So, not really focusing again on DCs, raw numbers. I have a web down here showing me 36 on the spell point cost and 65 for the save. That's still relatively weak in comparison to super holders in the game. Evocation is showing a 65. So sometimes they're gonna beat your saves, but you're spamming. You're trying to get just damage when you do that. Or I guess when you do this build, you're not really focusing on that. On the cleric side, the spontaneous casting is up from cleric feats at level 3, and then turn undead. I do have turn undead. It grants a special ability in the fire thing where your buddies get more fire damage or fire protection or something. Yeah, 12 equal to your caster level or something. I don't know, whatever. The insightful reflexes was a must because I was intelligence based. I don't have dex to make a reflex save. Toughness, I think I did take once, just once. The other meta magics are here, and this is easy to get when you have 8 levels of wizard. There's feats all the time. Empower, enlarge, heighten, maximize, and quicken. Why is there a paladin feat? All are of courage. I'm getting this from the warlock. Quick draw again, because I do switch a robe over during times of big destruction. When I was talking about a previous character of mine, I am in the fire or fiend pack. I went over this sort of cycle of events to boost, your melee power and everything. It's the same story with this build. This Reveler's Regalia is granting a 25% festive bonus to spell critical damage that lasts for a minute and a half, 90 seconds. So this is first. You're going to switch over from your robe to hit it. Second is if you are on Reaper mode, you're probably going to want to hit this for 20 seconds. Memento, if you did not load this. I didn't get into Epic Destinies or Reaper stuff yet, but Wellspring of Power is a feat. On this, gain 150 universal spell power, and then another 20% spell critical damage for 30 seconds. So that's kind of a big deal. Zeal or Righteousness is from the Cleric Epic Destiny, and this is granting all kinds of things for a certain amount of time, and it stacks down. So you start at 50 stacks of Righteous Zeal, or another, for me, what it works out as is another 50 spell power until it ticks down and the timer comes off and you can click it again. So if I do end up facing off, the first thing that happens is the cloak gets hit, and I'll just do this order as best I can. I don't know if they're going to let me do it down here in the ship hold. And then I'll try to flip over to my character sheet to show you what you are up to. What are you up to? What am I up to? I'm only up to like 3'8" on my gnome with a big nose. Okay, so right now, just as a base, no clicky, showing 35 down there at the bottom. And the spell powers, roughly, I'm looking at the force and the fire 636 and fire 750. So here we go. I'll do the cycle. And consecrated ground, and I will hover over it. So your fire's at 946, force 837. It's going up and down if I injure these guys with Empyrean favor. That's another thing I just forgot. Cleric Destiny has Empyrean favor in it. Empyrean power or something. So you can see those spell critical chance numbers jumping up higher every time my aura strikes them. We already killed one off. And up in the upper left-hand corner, there's also a thing that's showing the stack. So I max out at 75 on the fire, 44 on the force. Light is at 60, and my spell critical multiplier hits 60. 60% more damage. Again, still 20 more down from endgame warlock on those crits. So I guess that's sort of like the rundown on this thing and what the ideas and concepts were. If I open up Epic Destinies and I show Divine Crusader and I hover over this Empyrean magic, when I do damage somebody with a fire, light, or healing spell, you gain a stack of Empyrean fervor. And this stacks 10 times. It'll give you an extra 10% bonus to the critical chance of your spells when maxed out. Now, the other thing, now that everything is reset and the dummies are, now they're like immune to my thing, is I have slotted Sigil of Battering Spellcraft, but I can't use it down here. This will give you another 45 stacking spell power bonus to you and any ally standing in this big red circle until it dissipates. So again, I don't remember what those spell points are. It's a very short window of death and destruction that you're trying to lay down again. But when that's up, I think I barely nip 1,000 on my fire and just under maybe under 800 or something on my force. And then the light, I don't even know what that was up to. I don't even know. So I'll go over that. Sigil is in the Magister, and this is twisted in down here. It's the third tier here, or fourth tier. Excuse me. What's nice about that spell is it's also with consecrated ground on standing sort of in the middle area. You run into like artificers and stuff that are shooting at stuff, so consecrated ground is giving them a bonus to their damage while it's on. And the sigil, if other casters are still hanging out in your area, if they recognize what it is, it gives them a bonus too. So it's kind of like being a helper. I have to find on this character a nice balance between where to stand during boss fight. Um, it's beneficial for me to be within range of that aura. You can see it going off on the floor. Um, but it's very dangerous. Again, not a frontline player. Was it 102 AC, whatever, 124 PRR, and 70 on my magic resistance rating. Not really a frontline battle type of character. More of a support help out, unless you went into the epic destiny of Draconic. Then I think your range is like right in here. We'll show those hitting. These guys are going to be done. Check my powers again. Oh, spell critical multiplier up to 60 with that on. So it just burns them up. And you can see in the combat log all the types that go off with one swing of that every 4 seconds. It's not bad. But again, I didn't roll into it. What did I find out too? That's going to change. I think the next build, based on that, I think I'm going to let my two minor characters that I'm working on, go into the light domain on the cleric, and something with favored soul mixed in to spam light damage, and I'm going to skip that aspect and move on to um, something a little bit higher over here with a burster. I'm thinking a fire fiend warlock 12. 4 favored soul. Yeah, I don't know. And maybe 4 sorcerer. I like how quick sorcerers cast, but you're not going to have all the fire spells that you want. Probably just do a 12-8 then. 12 warlock, 8 favored soul to boost that spell level up and go on with it. That one would probably be focused on doing more warlock blasting than the aura. Anyway, that's a good time. It's a quandary. All these classes are are still awesome on their own, and I'm having a little bit of a difficulty mixing everything in. I forgot to talk about arcane supremacy when it goes off is another 100% spell critical damage, but it's only 12 seconds long. So you have to catch that window and then drop bombs. And that was like the whole point of mixing all this. No perfect. I think my bonus might be 12-8 over here. 12 warlock to get to that other bonus to 20%. And then 8 archmage to also take advantage of arcane supremacy when it goes off. So that's something else that would work. This is very powerful when this rolls through. It's like a 10% chance to trigger arcane supremacy, but the override effect on the spell critical damage is immense. What do I go up to? 160% for 12 seconds? Pretty crazy. What else did I miss? We got everything? Gear? Oh gosh. Why 12-8? Because you don't have enough action points to get through. Inventory. Let's see. The five pieces for the mist set are down here again, or well, they're scattered all over. Let's see here. We got the boots, flight foot greaves, speed and feather falling and freedom movement. Uh, the legendary ring of nightfall. This is for intelligence, insightful. The deadly and the reflex save, yeah, added bonus. It's not bad. Uh, I am still wearing a lantern ring because I like on harmful spellcast do another 3 to 18. This effect scales with light spell power. I still wear it. Level 26 item for me. I have downgraded it at the altar. I just wear it because I like doing extra secondary and tertiary damage types. These goggles, the summoner spectacles I am wearing, uh, there's a quality mystic diversion on here, and it's a part of the set, and conjuration is for the web. I still use this in game just to help that web DC out. The cloak is another piece of the mist set, and this was for the main intelligence on it and Evo focus. Evo 8 on there, and wizardry. If I didn't get it from here, I don't even know. Nope. And I think this is also my wizardry item 412. Uh, Echo of Ravenkind. I want to swap this out if I do get the healer one, just to boost the healing percentage and my healing spell power to help others out. The 3 items remaining are for the Beacon of Magic set, and that's the regalia, the gloves, and the belt. Belt's giving me the fire spell power right there, 202, and the base spell crit chance. So 1, 2, 3. Do I not have? Yeah. Problem is, this Echo of Ravenkind is also the last piece of the Mists set. This is my con item. So again, I want to swap that out. I have one piece of the slavers on. This is giving me a base 185 impulse from the slaver's chain. And my charisma 17 4 and 4. 21 out of that. Spell sight. The bracer slot. This is from something. I don't even know where this came from. Killing Time, maybe? It's got GH on it. I don't even know what I'm doing with this. I have not found something on my wrists that I want to wear yet. I was even thinking about going and making another fire spell critical multiplier from the Shroud. Green steel bracers. I think I could add another 35% on fire spell. So that's something to think about. I am wearing Epic Helm of the Red Dragon. This is for increasing your caster level when casting 9th level or lower spells that produce fire effects by 3. Raising the caster level of those spells. That's his advanced topics here. Jesus. If I look at the spells on the wizard, my maximum highest spell right now that I have is a level 4. So I do have heighten on this. No, I do not. I do have heighten on other spells. Apparently, this will not take it. Firewall will not take heighten. Starts at a 4. Heighten will raise your caster level up to your maximum of whatever you can cast, which is level 4. So maybe that's why it's not showing that it's taking it. So my fireball, I know that I put it on. It starts out at 3. It raises it 1 level to a level 4. And you can see the damage I'll put on there. Is saying 2 to 12 fire damage plus 1 additional point of damage per caster level up to a maximum of 15 additional points at caster level 15. Because there's such a mix of all these caster types, your spell level starts out low. And a lot of times the SLAs all start at 4. If you wanted something that was going to start, really whomping damage, you need to start with that level 9. And then if you did heighten on these, that would bring your maximum caster level up to a 9 base on them with added spell point cost. So I did heighten to get these lesser ones up to this level 4 base. On top of the fire with that helm, it's adding 3. So it's probably 7. I don't know. I haven't checked my combat log up here to show what it was casting at. And then another 5 from. Do I get caster levels from Epic Destinies? No, in Draconic you do. What does it say? Magister? No. Divine Crusader. Yes, you do. Cleric, Favorite Soul, and Paladin caster levels are going up with the Cleric Divine Crusader. So it doesn't even affect this firewall. And you don't even get one per every one. Oh, wow. Not focusing on doing damage. So this is why you probably wouldn't want to be in here if you were Fire Spec. You want to be in here at the Draconic. Or whatever else. Oops, Primal. No. Charati, say. It's Druid and Ranger caster levels. So if you're doing a Druid, yeah, you're not gaining the overall benefit on your spell types out of that. But that's an advanced topic. So I think I covered everything. I sure hope so. Anyway, thank you for the rundown and enjoy your tour of DDO. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Thank you.